Hi, everyone. To understand Chapter 26 in your textbook on the First World War, we really need to discuss for just a second the ideas of the balance of power and the power of ethnic nationalism. Basically, we have three big players in Europe in this period. Four big players and one small one. In the West, we have England and France, both large European imperialist powers, both very powerful with their navies and militaries, that are unparalleled. We also have Russia to the east. Russia is a declining power. It's very different. It is a confederation of sort of Eastern European, Slavic, and Asian peoples. Russia is the borderland between the West and Asia. It has a very divided identity and very diverse groups of peoples living in the Russian Empire. We also have the new kid on the block, Germany, country since 1871, and right next to Germany, and on the crossroads between Western Europe and Eastern Europe is Austria. Austria, of course, in this period is a dual monarchy. What this basically means is that Austria is the target of unwanted German affections, so to speak. Most of the Germans actually wanted the Großdeutschland solution, or the large German solution, the large German state. All German-speaking peoples in the same nation. The Prussians, however, didn't want that, so they got the Klein Deutschland, the small German solution. Austria, of course, did not want to be part of Germany. It has its own Catholic Habsburg monarchy. They want to maintain their independence. But now, of course, for Austria, for the Habsburgs, they're really up against it. They are, in a sense, squeezed between Eastern Europe and Germany. Germany, right next to it, very much larger, very much more powerful, and the Austrians are kind of up against it. So they have to try to preserve their own balance of power, to expand their own sphere of influence, and to do so they choose to go east and hammer together this empire with the Hungarians. The Austrians and the Hungarians have absolutely nothing in common. They're different religions, they're different ethnicities, they have different language, different traditions. The Hungarians are in every way the junior partner in the relationship. That wasn't bad enough for the Hungarians. The rest of Eastern Europe is also undecided what to do, especially the Croats and the Serbs. You've heard of these people before. In the 1990s, they fought wars with each other, had ethnic cleansings. Well, that starts here. Remember that up till fairly recently, the Ottoman Empire, the Ottoman Turks, the Muslim Empire, had actually controlled part of Eastern Europe. So Eastern Europe is divided along, they're really all Slavs, but they have different religious, linguistic, historical traditions. They're very divided, and they all want their own nation. The Hungarians, in a very uneasy, very unhappy alliance with Austria, they want out. However, Austria feels it has no choice, because of the balance of power, to expand even further. And so they start to cast covetous eyes upon Serbia. Serbia, however, does not want to be part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. They don't want to be part of the Russian Empire either. They want their own independent nation. Russia is this large Slavic empire, however, that sees Eastern Europe as its backyard, as its playground, and Pan-Slavism is something that the Russians certainly are trying to encourage. They want, in other words, to expand and to absorb all of the smaller Slavic countries like Serbia into their own large megalopolis, or their sphere of influence. Basically, Russia sets itself up as the protectors of its little Slavic brothers, but not all of its little Slavic brothers want to be protected by Russia, especially the Serbs. So the Serbs are really caught in the middle here, between Russia, between the acquisitive Austrians, and they are not happy about that. So there is a group of Serbians that are absolutely dedicating their lives to resist any kind of encroachment upon their sovereignty by any other power, be it Slavic or German or otherwise, and they want an independent Serbia. They're called the Black Hand. They are a terrorist group. They will resort to terrorism if they have to. Meanwhile, Germany is trying to expand itself, trying to balance out the powers, being the aggressive new kid on the block. And so they go to Austria and say, look, you're our little German-speaking brothers. We'll back you up. We'll do whatever we can. So they issue a blank check to the Austrians saying, hey, we got your back. We'll be there for you no matter what happens. So Austria is absolutely determined to annex Serbia. Confused yet? Well, I hope so. I'm doing that on purpose. Imagine trying to explain this to Americans in 1914. Hey, we need to enter the First World War. Why? What does it have to do with us? Answer, really nothing. So I'm trying to take you through this to understand the First World War. I knew some Americans who fought in the First World War, or who remembered it. They had no clue why American soldiers went to Europe to fight in the First World War. Nobody had ever explained it to them because they really couldn't. It's impossible. So I'm going to take you through the reasons for the First World War from a European perspective, and then we'll get to the other rationales a little bit later. Okay? So again, set up chapter 26. In 1914, the Austro-Hungarians decide that they are going to show the Serbians, hey, we got goodwill towards you. You know, you can be part of our empire. So the crown prince, the future emperor of Austria-Hungary, Franz Ferdinand and his bride, decide they're going to go on a goodwill tour to Serbia, you know, to wave to the Serbians with their stiff hand royal wave and to show them that, hey, we're not bad after all. We like you guys, you know. Well, the Black Hand decides they're not going to stand for that. They're going to send a message. They're going to assassinate the crown prince to show the Austrians and the world that Serbia is not anyone's annexation or project, that they want to be their own independent nation. So Gavrilo Princip, young Serbian Black Hand nationalist, actually an anarchist as well, assassinates the royal couple. Now Serbia is in trouble. The Black Hand, of course, is a conspiracy that goes all the way up through the army and the police force and so forth. So Austria has to save face. It wants Serbia to round up all the Black Hand people, arrest them, and turn them over to Austria. And if they don't meet those demands, Austria will invade and punish Serbia. Serbia refuses to allow this to happen. Meanwhile, Russia is angry, because now Austria is going to be expanding into its backyard, its potential sphere of influence. The Austrians know they're going to have some help if they're going to punish Serbia. They're going to invade and basically take it over. They're going to have help against the Russians, so they turn to Germany, which has issued a blank check and saying, hey, Germany, remember that blank check? Are you going to back us up? Well, the Germans are caught in a bind. They kind of have to, and they have their own plans. The Germans are not ready for war. They don't really want to go to war necessarily, but they have this expectation that, yeah, war is going to come eventually anyway, so we might have to join. The Germans, of course, being very precise people, very planning type people, they have their own plan called the Schlieffen Plan, which says that to avoid a two-front war, Germany has to invade and conquer France, defeat France very quickly before Russia can mobilize for war, because Russia is this huge territory with lots of natural resources and an inexhaustible manpower that they can draw an army from. You can't defeat Russia unless you absolutely exert everything you have on it. We don't want to repeat the mistake of Napoleon here. Okay, so Germany says we have to invade France. We have to defeat France in war very quickly before Russia can mobilize for war. Russia mobilizes very slowly. It's a huge territory, bad communications, very slow to move. Now, however, the Germans are starting to panic because Russians are mobilizing for war against Austria. So Germany feels itself caught in a tide of events it can't control. So it decides in the summer of 1914 that it has to put the Schlieffen Plan in action before Russia can mobilize for war. It has to invade and defeat France. Unfortunately, this puts Germany as the victor, not as the victor, but as the aggressor, because they act first. Also, unfortunately, the shortest way to get to France from Germany is through Belgium. Belgium is a neutral territory. They don't take part in wars. And, of course, England has a mutual defense treaty with Belgium. So when Germany crosses the border of Belgium to get to France, not only do they now have war with France, but because they've invaded Belgian sovereignty, they now have war with England, and Germany becomes the bad guy and the aggressor, and the First World War is on. Between, primarily, of course, on one side, the Central Powers, Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Ottoman Turkey, and against the Allies, or the Triple Entente, which is at first England, France, and Russia until 1917, when the Russian Revolution takes Russia out of the war, and then, of course, the U.S. joins in 1917. It's important to note that none of the participants know what they're getting into. We've had a second industrial revolution, so we have all these new ways to kill each other, new weapons. There's going to be casualties and deaths unimaginable. And there's going to be 4 years of uninterrupted bloodshed in Europe, and it changes the world.